Well, hey guys, welcome back to episode 6 of the Adam's Words podcast. Thank you for joining. Just a reminder, if you're watching this on YouTube, but you would actually rather listen to the podcast, then you can go to anywhere where you can find podcasts, type in Adam's Words, and you'll get it there. So I like to listen to my podcast while I'm driving or when I'm doing work around the house or something. So if you would rather listen than watch, then that is what you should do. Although, having said that, today's guest is somebody that you might want to look at because she is an Instagram influencer. She's an influencer. She's a fitness model. And the reason why I got to know her and started following her was because she can throw, basically anything, but mostly American footballs, or footballs as you guys call them over here, better than most professional football players can. The first video I saw of her was her absolutely whomping this shot. It was across a football field, and I think she knocked over you either got it in like a trash can or I don't know what it was. Anyway, let's go over to Callie and find out what it is. So, introducing Callie Bundy. Hello.
Hello, Adam. Thank you for having me. And I want to say your intro about me being an Instagram fitness chick, not super.
I didn't say fitness chick. I said influencer and fitness model.
Right, I know, but that was me. Like, if I was listening to you and you're like, "Oh, hey, Adam's got this freaking chick on, some Instagram fitness chick." Do you know how many of us there are in the world? You know, there's like a category of
fitness chicks.
Right. But they're just like, can be not interesting, super not interesting, right? So,
okay, well, let me, hold on, I'll redo that. Hi guys, welcome to the podcast. In this episode, we have Callie Bundy, who is a badass bitch. She does not like to be called a fitness model or influencer. She is so much more than that, so please do not tune out because she is way more interesting than the other ones. So, introducing Callie Bundy.
My point was, but thank you for redoing it.
No
and I would like, if we could somehow poll the audience, which intro was better, the first intro or the second one? I don't know if we can do that.
Of course we can. Leave it in the comments. Intro 1 or intro 2. Leave it in the comments.
Yeah. But yeah, football. That's how people know me, because my point is there's so many Instagram fitness chicks, whatever you want to call us. But yes, I was an athlete. First and foremost, like, people say they were a tomboy, whatever you want to call it. All I ever wanted to do in my life was play sports. I played soccer, basketball, softball. Literally in my 3rd grade journal, there was like sentence 1 and we had to explain who we were. Me and my mom were cleaning out my room one day and we found it. And I wrote, "I like sports, eating, and sleeping. And in my spare time, I do my homework." Okay? And I'm like, "Mom, perfect. I literally wrote it down for you. Like, I don't know why you tried to like it was right here. Like, that's who I am, literally to this day. I've never changed. All I've ever wanted to do is play sports." So I played softball, which brought me to throwing things. I always wanted to play football, but I don't know if I can say this. Can you edit and post? Like, if I say something inappropriate, is there anything I'm not allowed to say?
No, you can say what you want. I run these long forms, so just go ahead. I would rather you didn't say things like the C word, but...
Oh, no. I wasn't going to go there.
But everything else is free. Fuck it. Just say what you want to say.
I was born without male genitalia. Therefore, I could never...
No. Wait, hold the phone. Exclusive news right here, ladies and gentlemen. Callie Bundy is a woman.
So I couldn't play football. But I always threw one. I loved throwing one, and it was just something we always did. It's not like a new skill for me. I literally used to keep one with me every time we went to like the beach, anywhere. I had it with me. But I got into fitness competitions after I was done playing sports because I had nothing to train for. So I started doing these lame fitness competitions.
Is that the one where you get down to like 1% body fat and then paint yourself with like fence paint, like saddle in or something, and then go on stage and do all this stuff?
Yeah. Less flexing in the division that I competed in. But yes, that's the idea.
What division were you in?
Yeah. So there is like women's bodybuilding, fitness, figure, bikini, and now they added some other ones, but bikini was meant to be like the most natural and kind of just an overall athletic look.
Okay, and that's what you were doing. You were doing the bikini stuff.
Yes.
Got
It was basically, supposed to be when it started that you didn't need chemicals to enhance your physique. That's changed a little bit now because now it's a whole different look. But that was kind of the whole idea of why they started it. But I got real sick of it. It's like the exact opposite of anything to do with health or fitness. It's like you're over exercising, starving yourself. People are taking different things. Like, it's just horrible. And then it's attracts different kinds of people who might have had issues before they got into it, all this stuff. Anyways, right. When I was done with it, I was so sick of it, and I just wanted to go play sports. And I'm an adult. All my friends are adults and have like real jobs. Like, they can't go play sports with me during the day. So I was filming videos, and I like went out to a field and had a cardboard box and was doing a food giveaway. And I was just like, I wish I had somebody to throw the football with. I don't. So I'm just going to throw it at this cardboard box. So I just did this food giveaway, threw the football in the box, was like, enter the giveaway, whatever. And people were like, this is fake. I'm like, it's not that awesome where I would have to fake a video.
Right, of you throwing a football into a cardboard box. It's not the first thing that comes to mind, is it, when you think about creating a viral video that you're going to have to use CGI for? Right. So, and this was like probably like 4 years ago when this all started. So like when I first set it up with like my little iPhone, like the ball left the frame. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't aware that people were like, well, if the ball leaves the frame, that's how you know it's fake. So I'm like, okay, yeah, set it up again, kept the ball in the frame. They were like, oh, no way you could throw it that far with that form, blah, blah. And it just turned into this whole thing where like people, I could see that it was annoying people. So I kept doing it more because usually when there's like a big pushback, mm-hmm. then you're onto something. Yeah. So people were like, trolling me and like, you can't throw on the run. And I was like, I don't know, never tried, so I went out and I threw on the run into like a basketball hoop and stuff like that. But again, just something I've always done. It wasn't anything special I meant to do for the internet. And so what was the first moment then? Because you came out of doing the bikini contests, and then what were you doing for work? Because I don't presume that bikini contests pay rent. No, they definitely pay money, but you make just like a lot of those like kind of niche sports, you make more money via sponsors, mm-hmm. right? So I had some good sponsors and stuff, and social media was kind of just starting to be a thing. So that was good. I went to school for business marketing. So I was working marketing for a chiropractor, I think at the time. Okay. So you did have something else going on at the time as well as doing your football throwing and bikini posing. Right. Yes. And actually I don't know if that's the same time. So I was working for the chiropractor. Then I shot for, Muscular Development, the magazine? I've got to admit, it's not on my coffee table, Callie. Oh, yeah, that's right. You're like car guy. Okay. So it's pretty well known. They have a female magazine called Fitness RX. I shot for their cover. And in shooting for their cover, the owner of the company actually offered me a position to be the editor-in-chief for their online fitness magazine. So that's what I was doing at the time. I apologize for everybody's eardrums from that noise. I know. That was so loud. It's also like... So just for everybody to understand, Callie is a mum as well, and she has her little boy just off camera right now who is being so good. So if you do hear any strange noises, then probably it's Callie, but it also might be Marco, her little boy. Yes. Or the dog that is also asleep at her feet. And also maybe my dog that is asleep behind me. So there's a lot going on right now. There is. So if I sound a little scatterbrained, it's probably because I'm doing like 7 things at once. Like I can tell, I think I'm going to have to go give him a cracker. That's fine. Be right back. All right. Musical interlude while Callie gives her son a cracker. He is a human baby. He's not a parrot. So welcome back. Yes. So I was the editor-in-chief for a fitness magazine at the time. Okay. And then, so when did your first video go viral? I think it was about like 4 years ago.
Yeah, so like 2016.
Okay.
And it was right around the time when Instagram let you do a 1 minute video.
Okay.
So I had taken a little piece. I think I clipped together like 4 of my throws into one video and posted it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a holiday weekend, and I wasn't, like I'm on social media a good amount, but I don't actually spend time looking around on social media. So like when I'm not, when I'm not posting, like I'm not aware of what's going on. So it was over a weekend and I didn't look at my phone. I think it was a holiday. Monday was off. Monday, one of my friends texted me and was like, "Oh my God, go check such and such." And it was some like Spanish Facebook page or something.
You've made the big time.
It was like La Quarterback or something. They titled it. And
Amazing.
it had like, I don't even know, 25 million views or something. And then from there,
that's crazy.
From there it was like a snowball effect. It was like Barstool Sports was, I think, the next one to post it. And then what's it called? Like House of Highlights. And then from there, how it just runs the gamut. Like they all talk to each other.
That's awesome. And so prior to that, what was your following like? Did you have a decent social media following, or were you pretty unknown?
Yeah. I was probably just under like 100,000 somewhere.
Oh, okay. So it's not like you were nowhere then.
No, I want to say it was maybe around like 70,000 or something.
And prior to that, how had you built that audience? Was it people that followed you for the fitness modeling pictures, or were you doing other things? Like, was your personality kind of shining through then? Because that's what I get from your Instagram account, and one of the reasons why I followed you after I saw that video was because, like you said, there are tons, and no disrespect, but there are tons of fitness chicks and people, modeling on Instagram, and that's all well and good, but it just gets a bit boring. Whereas what I liked about you was the fact that your stories were very real. You well, I guess not on so much on Instagram, but I got the vibe that you were one of the guys, and you were kind of out there to have a good time. And I don't know, there was just something different about you that I engaged with a lot more than just seeing like another pretty girl posing for a picture. You know what I mean?
Yes, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Sorry, you can pay me later. I'll PayPal or Venmo is fine.
I've always never taken myself seriously ever at anything I've ever done. Like everyone always tells me, you're so down to earth. I expected you to be such and such. And I'm like, I don't really understand where I would be if I wasn't on Earth.
Right.
Like, it just, I don't know. I grew up in a medical family. Like that noise you just heard before, that was my cousin who was just texting me about a horrific case she just had for her first moment walking in the door for the day, about a tragic story. And so for me, like, unless people are dying, it's not that serious.
Right.
If there's, doctors that are curing cancer and saving lives, and nurses and all these people doing these things that really matter and really make a difference. And like, who am I? I'm just some chick on Instagram throwing footballs around, right? Like it's like, unless I'm doing something so great, then, I'm just lifting dumbbells and throwing things around, trying to make people smile, so I've never taken myself seriously.
Yeah, I think it's important to have that context, isn't it? And like you said, a lot of people, they think their shit don't stink, and they've got an inflated opinion of themselves. And I think it's nice. It's refreshing. And like I said, that's exactly why I was interested in you and started to follow you. I've probably been following you now for, I don't know, maybe 12 months or so, something like that, kind of checking in and seeing what you've been doing. And that's why I wanted you on the podcast, because I was like, dude, I think me and her are going to get on like a house on fire. So I'm glad that you came on to have a chat with me. And so once that started to blow up, then what I think it's interesting to hear how people transition to using social media full time as their income, like how people make a living from being an influencer. And I think a lot of people strive to do that. A lot of people are interested in making that their career because they see that it's all glitz and glamour, and I just post a picture of my ass and I get sponsors, coming to give me like T-Tox tea or whatever. And and I think that's a very naive way of looking at it, right? Because it's not easy, and it's not easy to leverage an audience in a way that keeps everybody, all of your sponsors and stuff, happy. So what was your journey then from that moment where you kind of hit the mainstream and got that big push? How did you then progress, and how have you then turned what you do into a sustainable income?
Can we take a time out?
100%. Another cracker.
So
welcome back. Oh, here he is. Hey, what's up, Marco? Look at his little eyes.
Hi, buddy. So how did I transition? Well, when those videos started going viral, I started getting a lot more interest and requests, and then my agency now at the time had reached out to me and said, hey, we'd like to represent you on social media. And I was like, I had done TV hosting. I actually lived in Japan for a bit doing VJ work and things like that.
I want to get into that. Let's carry on, but I definitely want to get into that.
So I was familiar with agencies and things like that, but as far as social media went, nobody was talking about that then. Again, this was 4 years ago. So I was like, okay, what does that even mean? So they started explaining it to me, and that's when I started. So I signed with Viral Nation is the agency, and I've been with them ever since. And they're awesome. They're basically my family at this point. And it's funny, ironically, my original agent and the co-founder and the other co-founder, Matt and Joe just had a baby a few months before me. And now Matt is going to be having one. So it's just kind of funny that we're all having babies within the same time. But
that's awesome.
So they started explaining things to me, and we started. I started booking bigger deals, better brands, and kind of thinking about it. To me, there was always value in social media because it's, as a marketing major, anytime there's eyeballs, you have value, right? It doesn't matter if it's radio, TV, magazines, the medium just keeps changing, right? So now social media to me was eyeballs. So I was like, I don't know when, but there's going to be money here.
Right.
There's going to be value here. And at the very least, there's your own chance to market yourself, which was super appealing to me because I'd, been with agencies where I would go and audition, and, you had to convince one person to give you an opportunity. And if you didn't convince that one casting director that you were the person for that job, then that was it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So social media was building your own audience. So to me, it was brilliant, right? So it was a matter of time until I'm brands are going to start coming onto this. So then when I got with them and started seeing the value in it and started, we kind of rebranded my Instagram a little bit too at that point. I was a bit more fitness then and less sports.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of the sports brands, because, fitness is about skin, right? Those fitness competitions, you're in a bikini, there's skin everywhere. He's talking to Moxie.
That's awesome.
So, but a lot of the sports brands are family friendly, right? So that about kind of revamping some of that and what I was posting and, fine tuning things. And that's when it became a full-time thing. And, now it's very normal that people are influencers and they make money and this is what they do. But it was definitely, a process along the way, and editing and still, editing and changing. And now I have him. So again, you're going through another thing. People are go throw footballs, and I'm like, well, I'm pregnant. And
right.
Now I just had a baby that's literally attached to me. I can't leave him in a field while I go throw footballs and things. A little too young for that. So it's been a process.
For sure. That's awesome. And it's great to hear that it grew so organically for you as well. And a lot of people now are buying their audiences, and they're doing all kinds of stuff to try and get themselves ahead. And so when you hear of people that just are organically successful for being the person that they are, then that's brilliant. That's awesome. And so tell me a little bit more about your the trip to Japan, or living in Japan. How did that come about? How did you get into the TV thing? What was going on there?
Yeah, so I'll say, to kind of touch on your last point before I move to Japan also, is like I've never been afraid to lose followers either. Like everyone's like, oh, so there's when I got pregnant, like people fell off, but it's like I wasn't.
Isn't that crazy? Like, isn't that? Well, I guess it's not. It's not crazy. If
No.
someone's following you because they think you're this hot Instagram model, then yeah, oh god, she's up the duff now. Well, no, there's my chance gone. As they're sitting there in their mum's basement, like.
Right, exactly. And like again, like being pregnant, it limits you and what you can create and content and being active and doing things they were there to normally see. So, but I don't care. Like, you know what I mean? So, because if you just keep again being authentic and putting out good content, you're gonna get new followers and new people, and it's just kind of the ebbs and flows. So,
do you know what I really liked about when you were pregnant and your content? Because at the end of the day, like I'm not really in it for having kids right now. It's not on my radar. It's not of interest to me. And I've had friends that have gotten pregnant and been on Instagram, and it is just all about the fact that they're pregnant, and it's so boring. And what I liked about you was the fact that even though you were posting stuff about your pregnancy, it was never like it never took over everything. And so for me, as someone that started to follow you because of like what you were doing with like the goofy videos and stuff and your personality, that was nice that was so refreshing to see that you weren't just like, oh my god, I'm pregnant now, so now everything's going to be about pregnancy products and how I'm going to be the best mom ever and bouncing back and blah blah blah. And even now you've had him, you've bounced back amazing. I mean, that's such a horrible term, bounce back, but like you've gotten back to being in absolutely incredible shape so quickly after having him, but you've done it very modestly. You've not been like, so here's my training routine, this is what I've been doing, you guys can do this too, or you guys should do this too. And so that's very refreshing as well. And so your authenticity definitely shines through in what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, I think, and thank you again, but I feel like, of course, people are there because, your followers are there because of you, right? They want Adam, of course, people are there because they want to know things about me. But I always feel like it's about the audience than it is more about me, right? So like not everyone in my audience is pregnant or has a kid,
right?
Or so I always try to kind of keep it a bit balanced. Again, there's of course they're going to be, the majority of things are going to be about me or different things because that's my page, but it's about my audience more than it is about me, I've always thought.
Yeah, absolutely.
But so Japan was awesome. It was hands down the coolest job that I've ever had in my life. There I was trying to get hosting jobs, and I was like sending out tapes everywhere. And I don't even remember where I saw it, like at the time. I don't know, was it like Craigslist? I'm not sure, but somewhere I had seen it. There was a job opening, and it was posted in San Francisco for a VJ for some weather company where you had to live in Japan. So I sent out the tape, and they were like, hey, we want to fly you out for an interview. So I'm like, all right, great. So go to San Francisco, interview. They're like, we want to give you the job. So I'm like, okay, Mom, I'm going to move to Japan and they called us weather jockeys, not VJs. So we were WJs because we were working for weather news, the weather news. Okay. So my mom's like, Callie, I don't think that's a great idea.
You're going to Japan for a job you found on Craigslist. Is that really a good idea?
You're going to be sold into the sex slave trade, and we're never going to see you again. And I was like, yeah, no doubt. So I'm going to go.
So, konnichiwa.
Right. So a month later, I was flying into Tokyo and meeting my crew, and we were producing mobile phone video at the time, which was like nobody was producing. This was in like, when was this? I don't even remember. Like 10 years ago? 10 years ago? Maybe 12 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was like 12 years ago. Like, so nobody was doing this. And we show up, and there's like a 4-person team. And the building that they have us in is on the first floor, and it's all glass. And their idea was to have all these weather teams for all the different countries. So like Japan had a team, Korea had a team. There was UK, they had a team.
Nice. Drinking tea with bad teeth. Hello, chaps. Weather's pretty shit today.
There was 2 girls there, and Team America, that was us.
Nice.
So we were the only team that I had 3 males with me. I was the only female. And they would only allow the females to stay in the glass room in the corporate building.
Okay.
So we were basically like on display for like, like marketing for everyone walking in and out of the building. There was all these like, attractive WJs sitting in there doing our work for all these different countries. So I had to like petition to get my team to sit in there with me because we were doing production, right? Like we all need, like on the fly, like we needed each other. So I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like we all need to be here. So I got the whole team in there, which was great. And they were
like,
very thin.
I need my boys in this fish tank.
Yes, yeah. But it was awesome. It was the most ridiculous job. We had, we could produce anything we wanted as long as it pertained somehow, some way to weather.
Okay, interesting. And what kind of a cadence were you putting out content?
Every day, Monday through Friday.
And how much? Like what were they there? Were they camera guys, editors, everything? Was it like a self-contained unit?
Yes, yeah. We had, so I think we used their camera guy. We had producer and then like 2 graphics guys. And we were all totally different. So there was me, there was some dude from like Boston who was super into politics. Another dude from, somewhere in California. He was like 6'4", vegan, and he was practicing the art of kendo.
Oh, it's a bit like me. He sounds like me.
Yeah, he was awesome. So everywhere he went, he had the sword in his back. Yes.
What?
Now, 6'4" in Japan.
6'4" with a sword in Japan. It's like a Kill Bill episode.
American. We stuck out like sore thumbs. Like there's no foreigners in Japan, right? Like
where were you in Japan?
We were in Chiba. I don't know if you know Japan, but that's like an hour, maybe 30 minutes outside of Tokyo.
Okay, so it's not like you were in Tokyo. It's not like you were in the main metropolis. Like you were kind of out the way a little bit.
Yeah, like 30 minutes, right outside. So him, yeah, and then we had another guy from, I think he was from San Francisco, and he was awesome. He was like super into squid and like underwater life.
Oh, not eating it, like actually the animal.
Very anti-eating it. Like if he even knew that was like I just said that and that was a mistake, he would be like, I can't believe someone thought I was eating squid. No, like actually, like he would tell me how intelligent they were and how like more people have been to the moon than have been to the bottom of the ocean.
This is true.
And it's crazy. And he'd be like, yeah, it's right here on our planet. Like we have water aliens and nobody's doing anything about it. We're spending all of our money trying to go to the moon. He's like, nobody even has ever been to the bottom of our ocean. Nobody even knows. And I'm like, that's actually a really like legitimate crazy thought.
Oh, for sure. And was he nerding out because he was right next to the Marianas Trench?
Yes.
So that, in case anybody doesn't know what that is, it's I think it's the deepest part on the planet, and it's right off the coast of Japan, isn't it?
Yeah,
Marianas Trench.
Yeah, we were there. They had there's like some big university or something there that had just caught a giant squid on camera for like the first time. So he actually went and listened to this guy speak and like talk about it. And he was so stoked.
Just a squid lover's wet dream right there.
Oh yeah, yeah. But he would tell me about how like they've like the military has modeled a lot of their like crafts after the way squids can move and like all this different stuff. But
is he describing a jet ski by any chance?
I don't think so.
They're basically just like a jet ski with tentacles, dude.
Yeah. But it was great. So it allowed us to put out some of the most bizarre content because we were all so different that it just worked. So we would do like one of my favorite stories to tell is we would do a segment called weather to drink by. Like, so wherever the weather was great, this is where you should go, and this is, you should have a drink.
Okay.
So we did one, and it was about this place in Douglas, Wyoming, where they were holding a jackalope festival.
A jackalope?
Yeah.
What's a jackalope?
Exactly. All right.
Is an antelope and a jackal?
Yes. So it's basically a bunny with antlers.
That's not a thing.
Yeah, no, it's totally a thing.
It's not a thing. Not a thing. I'm Googling it right now. It's not a thing.
It's totally a thing.
It's not a real animal.
It's a thing as in it is like as legitimate as Bigfoot or what is it, the Loch Ness Sea
Oh, I see.
Okay.
You got me all excited then. I was like, wait, is this an animal I don't know about? A rabbit with horns?
Well, jackalope is legit. Like, if you want to be something awesome for Halloween this year, probably that, Adam. Okay?
Okay. I can be a jackalope. All right.
Right? And so you'll notice if you go places like out west and stuff, they'll have how they have like heads of animals on the walls. They'll have like the jackalope. Yes.
So I'm showing this on camera to you guys watching. So that is absolutely terrifying.
Amazing.
Oh my God. That's horrific.
Yes, this place in Douglas, Wyoming has a jackalope festival.
Okay.
Every year you can go to this thing. And so basically the way they were created is that all these drunk cowboys would sit out drinking whiskey and be like, yo, man, I saw a jackalope, right?
Right.
So it's like become legend. So according to the legend, the way you hunt a jackalope is with whiskey. So we created this segment. We're on set. I have a handle, whiskey in one hand, a gun in the other. Our graphics guys had animated the jackalope, and I was shooting its head off. So,
What?
Yeah, it's amazing. The president of the whole company was coming in to show off the Americans. It's like 9 a.m. I'm swigging whiskey and shooting this bunny heads off, right? So he walks in and I'm like, yeah, get the jackalope. And boom, shoot the jackalope, head flies off. And he's like, Carrie-san. Because that's what they would call me because the double L's become R's, So
Carrie-san, okay.
like, no more kill the bunny. No more kill the bunny. And I'm like, no, don't worry about it, man. It's cool. It's a jackalope. They don't actually exist. And he's like, no kill the bunny. Like, there was no way that we were going to get that translated. Like, that was not happening. So we got reprimanded pretty bad for that, like, because the Americans were on set drinking, shooting bunnies at 9 in the morning. And he came in
really flying the flag there.
Right. But that was weather to drink by. So we were doing this whole thing about jackalope. So that's what I mean when it was the most ridiculous content that we could come up with.
And how long were you there for? Like, how long were you able to get away with that absolute charade of a job?
Yeah. It was about a year. And then there was like a break in production. And they were going to see something, and then they never ended up like continuing production.
No. Why? I can't imagine why.
Because nobody was really doing mobile phone video.
Oh, that's why?
Yeah, it wasn't anything to do with
you guys were probably the reason why. Everyone went onto their mobile phones to watch video, and they're like, this is too weird. We don't want any of this.
It was so amazing. We had one segment. There was a dude they had animated called Rod Lightning was the character, and he was a drunk lightning bolt.
What? And what did Rod Lightning do? That's a brilliant name, by the way.
I can't. My God, my stomach hurts so bad. Rod Lightning would like describe. He was actually like a informative character, and he would describe the kids like different kinds of clouds. He'd be like, "Oh yeah, look, that's a cumulus cloud. That's what like I think it was before I started drinking last night." And so he was always just drunk, but he was informative and very, very helpful for the children.
That's amazing. So forget being a jackalope for Halloween. I'm gonna go as Rod Lightning.
Oh my God. It's pretty great.
You have to send me a picture of what Rod Lightning looks like, and I'll start making my outfit right now.
Yes, yes, I will. I have to see if I can find some of those videos. They're gold. But yeah, so it was amazing. It was like the most amazing job ever.
And
And
how
then
was it living there? Prior to that, had you done much traveling?
yeah, I'd always traveled, but never that far. My grandparents were big into traveling before it was like a thing. Like they went on safaris before safaris had a name. They
Cool.
went to like Papua New Guinea and like stayed with tribes. And like I remember in like third grade, they came back and they brought me like a boar's head necklace, and I brought it to school to show it off because that's what you do with your boar's head necklace, right? Um,
Do you have many friends at school, Callie?
It's so great. I remember some kid, he wanted to show me some like Playboy card or something he had. And I was like, oh yeah? Check this out. Boar's head necklace. Boom.
Oh my god.
Like he's like, wrong girl, man, wrong girl.
So remember in the beginning, guys, when Callie said, don't introduce me as just an influencer, fit chick girl. You're understanding why now.
Yes, yes. So yeah, so I always traveled, but nothing like that, like nowhere near, Japan, and never lived in another culture. I think that's the biggest thing. And I absolutely loved it. Like, I think living in another culture, and I'm sure you can speak to this, and especially a place like Japan where there's like individuality is not celebrated.
Right.
And there aren't many foreigners, and it literally is about everyone is doing the same and being the same, and that was so eye-opening to me. So I absolutely loved it. And people were actually, Americans aren't always well received when we travel.
Right.
People were so nice to us. It was crazy.
It's a very respectful culture, isn't it? I think even if they didn't like you, would they let on, or are they pretty good at doing the whole like, oh, nice to meet you, but piss off?
I don't think so. Like, they would, even just example, nothing's in English, even though, like English is kind of the world language, right? So yeah. I'm not saying that to be like everyone speaks English, but there was nothing, like no signs. Tokyo, was, or maybe still is, the largest city in the world, and literally nothing in English at the time.
That must have been a real thrown in at the deep end moment. Like, how did you get on in those first few weeks? Did you learn the language at all?
No, I was like
true American.
Arigato.
Just say it louder.
Biru. I knew how to say beer. When I would walk into stores, people would say, hi. And I'm like, oh, hey, what's up? And I'm like, everybody knows. And then some girl who I was with, she was Taiwanese, but she spoke like 5 languages. She was like, no, hi means like, may I help you?
Yeah.
Oh, no doubt. So I did a lot of like sign language, like thumbs up, thumbs down, like how we doing, little chest pound, USA. I'd throw that out every now and then just to mess with people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you wear like Daisy Dukes and cowgirl boots and like you go the whole hog, little bandana?
I don't know. I don't think so. Most of the time we were like riding our bikes around and stuff. So usually it was in like sneakers, which was impressive though. A lot of the female Japanese wore stilettos while riding bikes.
Wow. Okay. That's a talent right there.
Super talent. Like I'm like, I played way too many sports and I sprained my ankle way too many times. I would break my ankle if I wore stilettos riding a bike.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. Never ends well.
One day they would ride their bikes, right, with stilettos. And then if it was raining, they would also ride with an umbrella up with one hand.
Whoa.
So this is a good story for you. I'm going to try to make it as short as I can, because I can get long-winded. I know it's crazy.
No, it's fine. This is a podcast. We can go as long as you like. So
it was raining, and I would ride my bike to work, and I had my basket in the front with my computer, and I'm like, these chicks ride in stilettos and an umbrella. Like, I got this. Like, I'm in jeans and sneakers. Here we go. Pop my umbrella open, riding along. and everybody was, on the sidewalk walking, so I had to get in the road, and there was a car coming one way, which was fine. Okay, I'm still riding. And then there's a car coming another way. I'm like, all right, this is gonna be a little tight. Roads are tight here. Then a gust of wind came and blew my umbrella inside out and had me going head first into the car that was coming my way. So it was either hit the car or jump ship. So I yanked the bike and jumped ship. So I landed on my left foot fine. But then when I tried to land on my right foot, I basically sprained my ankle the entire way around. So left side, right side, on top of my foot. So it's pouring rain. I crashed my bike, smashed my basket. My umbrella's broken. Jumping up and down, yelling, just literally so loud, and everyone's looking at her because nobody speaks English, and I'm like, we're good, we're good, just giving everybody the thumbs up sign. I'm like, oh my god, what do I do? So I just pick up my bike, my broken umbrella, my computer, and I put it all in the basket, and I rode into work soaking wet. Go in, they had assigned someone to look over us, and I come in, and she's like, Carrie, son, what happened? And I tell her, so we get it all fixed up. But then that was the worst sprain of my life. I couldn't even do an elliptical for 5 months, which brought me to doing Japanese water aerobics with women that were all 60 plus in Japanese.
Amazing. Yeah. I mean, what an experience, if nothing else, right? That's character building right there.
Yeah. I don't know if it's, but character building. I remember, did you ever watch or hear or read, I think it was called Frozen?
Yeah. Do you want to build a snowman?
No.
Oh.
What was it? It's about the Chilean, I think it was soccer or rugby team that crashed in the Andes.
Oh, very, very different to the Frozen I was thinking of. Okay, no, I haven't. Do they turn into cannibals?
Okay, yes. Okay. And they have to, again, begin deciding, are we going to, this is going so many directions, eat the dead or die ourselves, right? So there was one guy who kind of became the hero for those that were able to make it through. And he said that he didn't believe that character was built, but that he thought that character was revealed. And that's always stuck with me because a lot of the time I think all that, right, is inside us. He's like, I didn't know that I would act this way or behave this way if I was, in this situation. But I did, and that's because it was in me kind of thing. So to me, my character was revealed. It wasn't built. And I've always kind of appreciated that perspective.
Right. So some people's characters are revealed because they eat the bodies of dead people, and other characters are revealed because they have to do Japanese water aerobics with 60-year-old ladies.
Exactly. Some, are a bit more helpful than others. But exactly.
So, all right. So the question here is, would you eat the dead people or would you die?
I would eat them, yes.
Yeah, you would?
Yes. And it's interesting because it created a whole another set of problems because it would make them sick. So it was this balance of how much to eat, how to eat it, and then hoping that you getting sick didn't also kill you. But again, I grew up in a medical family, and with pretty grounded, down-to-earth parents that we grew up hunting and skinning animals and doing different things. So if it's do or die and it's game time, yeah.
You're like, I could prepare a butt cheek if I had to.
Yeah. Do any of us want to? Or do we want to even think about it? No, but, it is what it is.
If push comes to shove. Yeah, that's a tricky one. I watched Castaway the other day for the first time in a long time, and that's such a great movie. A great movie. And I'm like, God, I wonder how long I would try to sustain myself on coconuts and plants before I realized that I would just shit myself to death if I didn't actually eat something that wasn't plant-based.
Yeah, and it's challenging. Like I said, the one of the guys that was in Japan with us that was vegan for I forget how many years, and even in Japan, like in the salads, they would still put pieces of meats and things, so it was almost impossible for him to avoid.
Yeah,
and it would make him sick because his body couldn't digest it. So it was tricky.
That's like Europe. I did a road trip with a friend of mine. We went to pick up a vintage Mercedes from the south of France, and we drove it back up through France. And we basically just had to stop and eat at like gas stations and things because there was no time for us to stop. We were just on a mission, and every time we got to a new gas station, I'd be like, all right, this one must have a veggie sandwich or something. And it would be like, I'd go to the person and be like, je suis végétarien, like, what have you got? You know, again, same as you, thumbs up, pointing. And they were like, wait. And they'd like pull out like, poulet, and it's chicken. And I'm like, it's kind of an animal. That's an animal as well. Anything else? And they'd be like, poisson. And I'm like, yeah, it's a fish. It's also an animal. Yeah, can't eat that one either. Okay. And so I basically survived on like fruit roll-ups or something for that entire trip back. I was just absolutely zinging off my tits by the time we pulled up with all the sugar. And then we got into the UK, and like you come off the ferry, and the first petrol station that you hit in the UK is like this big fancy one. And I remember just racing in there and getting like and I wasn't vegan at the time, I was just veggie, and getting like an egg mayonnaise, like an egg salad sandwich, and like a packet of crisps, or chips as you guys call them, a packet of crisps and a Diet Coke, and just being like, yes, this is the best food I've ever eaten in my life.
I bet.
It is funny, isn't it, how certain cultures just do not have that perception of like, well, what do you eat if you don't eat meat? Like, how does that work? There's nothing else to eat, right? You just eat vegetables?
Did I eat vegetables?
No, I was saying that's what they say. It's like, what do you eat if you don't eat meat? You just eat vegetables? Like, is that it?
Right. Yeah, no, it's a very difficult concept for some people to understand, for sure.
And so talk to me a little bit then about like after you get back from Japan, obviously then things go viral and you start to get into more like the social media stuff. How has that been balancing, like you said, having a family and kind of friends with proper jobs, right? What's the perception of you and your work amongst your peers and friends?
Probably the perception, of what I do is a lot of people don't understand it. They, like my parents are like, we don't really know what Callie does, but it seems to work out. So
yeah, it's like, how do they just you work when their friends say, so what's Callie doing now? She's throwing footballs at cardboard boxes and getting paid for it.
Right. So, and it's funny because again, like they're all, medical field. So like all their friends are all like doctors and, so they're like, so Callie, tell us what you do, and I'm like, so social media. And they're like, so like Facebook, cause that's all like anyone over 50 knows. Right. And I'm like, well, I guess, sure. It doesn't matter. Facebook, Instagram, right. Twitter. Yes. A social platform. So I'm like, now, imagine that everyone on there is their own television channel. So they're either, Fox News or ESPN or Animal Planet or whatever it is, but they're all their own channels and they all put out their own content. Okay. So then they're like, now what's content? Some people are pulling teeth. And, I try to explain it as basic as I'm like, okay, so if you're Animal Planet, and this is your channel on social media and, Petco comes to you and they want you to create content for, their brand, then you put it on your channel and you get paid for that. And they're like, so now why do they pay you though? Like, they're like,
right.
You, why you? It's like, they can't understand, and it's funny. And some people, they're like putting you down and, of course they're like, so, and this is going to go on for how long,
Right.
So
But I mean,
different.
to be fair, that's a pretty legit question though. And I was just on another podcast before I chatted to you, and we had that conversation. And one of the reasons why I started my clothing brand was to future-proof myself, because Callie, you may not believe this, but these looks that I have aren't going to last forever, and this body isn't always going to be the godlike. Buddha's a god, right? It's
Yes.
It's not going to be the godlike physique that I have right now forever. And so I did look at how I'm going to work things in 10 years time, 15 years time, 20, 5 years time, who knows. And so I'm doing that with the clothing line and starting something that can live totally separately from me. I've seen you do, or you've done an app with all the workout stuff. Like, how did that come about, and how's that been for you as a side hustle?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I think all that, I also, all those different things you can do, right? So that's fine. I've done clothing before. It's kind of, I have different stakes in different companies. A lot of the times what I do with my deals is I try to actually get part ownership if it's, and a few of those have panned out really well. So it's all.
Would a 6-star nutrition be one of those?
No, but I've been working with 6-star. They're actually owned by their mother company is actually Iovate, and then they have all these different. I've actually worked with them now for, I don't know now, maybe 5 years.
Okay.
They've been awesome. They're like, again, kind of like my family. So yeah, I think those are all, and I have some other things going on. I don't like to talk about in progress things.
Yeah, for sure.
The app has been great. I'm probably actually coming out with something else as well.
Watch this space.
What's that?
I said, watch this space.
Yes, yeah. So it's good. But yeah, I think for me, I like having a lot of like fires in the iron or balls in the air or whatever you want to call it.
Fires in the balls, yep.
Yes, fire in the balls. I love business and ideas and like again, I was a marketing major, so I always have a lot more going on than most people realize.
For sure. No, I get that impression just from the stuff that you post on social media, which obviously isn't always truthful in terms of like it's not always someone's real life.
Right.
And I think you touched on that recently in a story that people need to just chill the F out on their perception of social media and understanding that what you see on social media ain't always real. Like people are curating this content specifically for you. So don't always think that it's absolutely verbatim, or not verbatim, it's absolutely the truth. So where do you see yourself in 5 years?
That is a question that you get asked your whole life, right? Mm-hmm. And I've always hated that question.
I apologize. I'm sorry. Okay, Callie. So tell me a bit more about throwing footballs at boxes.
No, because to me, like, it's just the way I look at it. It's more about taking advantage of opportunities, right? Like if you ask, like any of those times that people have asked me, and like if you look back at 5 years to when they did, I never thought I would be doing the things that I was doing.
For sure.
When someone asked me, like, I didn't think that, shooting for the cover of a magazine would make me the editor-in-chief of this. I didn't even know what an influencer was. I didn't even know that was an option. I didn't even know I could create my own app. I didn't even know I could, buy into these different, businesses and opportunities. So for me, like, it's more about taking advantage of opportunities.
Absolutely.
And I don't know where I'm going to be in 5 years because something may happen tomorrow. I may get a phone call about an opportunity that I didn't even know. But I think, it's about putting yourself in position for those opportunities, right?
Yeah.
So it's not maybe the answer you were hoping for. But I think, for me, it's always been about taking advantage of every opportunity and putting yourself in position to get more of them, because you just literally never know what's going to happen.
No, absolutely. No, I mean that was the answer I was hoping for, a truthful one. And I think probably then the better way to put it would be like, what are your next steps, or like what are your aspirations moving forward? Obviously, yeah, things can change, and hey, you never know, you might be back in Japan with Rod Lightning at some point. But like, just in terms of where do you see yourself going? Do you see yourself moving away from social media eventually and getting more into like the business side of things, or do you always want to be the face of the brands and the content that you're putting out?
No, I think if tomorrow I had an opportunity that secured, or one of my current things kind of fell into place where I could disappear off social media forever, and never be seen again, I'd do it in a heartbeat.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I don't need. I've never been someone that needs it to be about me. I played team sports. I'm very independent, and I don't I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm like an introvert at all. Like, I love going out. I love being social. I love people, but I also 100% love being by myself. Like, probably one of my favorite questions in one of my yearbooks someone wrote was, Callie, why do you always show up to parties by yourself?
You're like, because I am the party, bitches.
Right. And because it's like, if I want to leave, I don't have to convince 6 people that it's time to leave. I can just leave, right? Like, I just have always been very independent that way. So yeah, I don't need it to be about me. I love business. I love social media. I do. I work a lot with Viral Nation, on the business side, working with other influencers, seeing, how deals are run, all that. So that, I absolutely love it. And I think it's so interesting that, with the platforms and changing and, what's, TikTok, what's happening with that? Is that going to be real? Is that the next Vine? So I absolutely am fascinated by social media. I love it from a business and marketing perspective. So, I don't think I'd ever get bored of it in that sense. But again, if something happened where, I could disappear and it didn't have to be about me, I'd do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, that's interesting that you're able to look at it from both sides of the lens. No, not both sides of the lens. What am I trying to say here? Both sides of the coin, where you can look at it from being the content creator and then being the brand. And I think that probably is why you get on so well with most of your partners, or all of your partners, is because you have that insight into what they want from both sides of things. Right. So, and I think that's also cool that you're able to build meaningful relationships with these brands, because I think brand deals are often sometimes seen as being like a bit of like sellout or whatever. And certainly, from speaking personally, I'm now starting to get approached by more brands to work with them, and I am turning brands down that aren't a fit. Because I think if I'm going to work with a brand, and if I'm going to put a brand out to my audience, the whole thing, we're very similar in this way, the whole thing is being authentic, is being authentically you. And I'd rather you hate me for who I am than love me for who I'm not. Yeah. And so I think building those relationships with brands that you truly do believe in before you bring those to your audience, you owe that to them. We at the end of the day, we would be nothing without our audiences, right? If people weren't listening to this podcast, or if people weren't looking at your Instagram, then we wouldn't have those brands come to us. So I think we have a duty to make sure that the type of content we bring to them, the brand deals especially, that they are authentic and they are things that you truly stand behind.
Absolutely. And that's, I think, always the biggest thing. And that's what makes social media influencer marketing, all when it does work the way it should, is because of the authenticity of it, right? Like, when you have those true partnerships and, brands are invested in you and you're invested in them, right? It's a two-way street. So, and then when you find those brands, it's so great, because I'm sure you've had, times when you've worked with brands where they haven't been that great to work with, and you like the actual brand, but their way they go about business isn't great.
Yeah. And that's always so disappointing.
Yes.
It's like, don't meet your heroes.
Right. So it's tricky too. But yeah, and I think for me, first and foremost, it's like if the fit isn't there, then it's not there. It doesn't matter, what you're paying or anything like that, because it's like there's no way that I could spin this where, yeah, my audience isn't going to be like bullshit.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And then that damages the brand more than it does them any good.
Right, exactly. And then it makes it, again, you hold out for like anything else in life, right? You hold out for the right fit, the right opportunity, the right people. And it always ends up working way better in the long run, like the things I've said no to and the people I've said no to, I've never regretted.
Right. Absolutely, yeah. And so going back to you saying you're a very independent person, are you an only child? Have you got brothers and sisters?
Yes, I'm actually the youngest. So I have an older brother, older sister. Yeah, and I'm not a typical youngest child.
Yeah, just the way that when you were explaining things, I was like, yeah, that's the same as me, but I was an only child, so I was a spoiled kid, so that's why I'm happy being by myself, because I was at such a good time with all the attention being on me. No,
I don't know. It just my personality. But yeah, I was like, never got like babied, like I always fired back, my dad would be like, Callie, and I'd be like, no, it's because of this. Like I always got myself in trouble. I was always ended up getting like, choked out for running my mouth too much, but it never stopped me. My sister always told me that someday someone's going to punch me in the face, but it hasn't happened yet.
Watch the space. Have you ever done any martial arts?
No, I did. I took boxing once.
The way you say your O's is so amazing. Boxing. Like, I don't think I've heard you say an O yet. You know how it's like carry son? Well, yeah. You are boxing.
Boxing, yes. And it was awesome. And it was like, some gritty, like, kind of like seedy gym. That my trainer, he was a Mexican dude, he didn't really speak English. I spoke a little Spanish. He had like, was missing a few teeth. And, I remember like, he'd be like, doing the pads, and then he'd be like, you tough, and it was awesome. It was the best workout I've ever had in my entire life. Yeah. And it wasn't like some cookie cutter boxing gym. It was just like a true boxing gym. And then I think I ended up moving and, where I was, and I was never, but I was actually going to get back into boxing after him. And like right when I was about to start, we got locked down in quarantine. So right. I'm thinking about getting a bag just for my basement and like watching videos and just teaching myself.
100%. You absolutely should. I want to get onto your workout stuff as well, but like martial arts, and if I can make one suggestion to you, is as soon as you can, get Marco into some type of martial art.
Okay.
It is. So I started martial arts when I was 4. So my mum was like, I got this firecracker of a kid that needs to get this energy out. What can I do? And so she was like, well, sure, I'd add in a local magazine or a local newspaper for a karate class. So she took me. I think she came to 2 classes, watching 2 classes, and then my instructor came up to her and one of the other dads that his kids started at the same time. And he was like, all right, you guys, next week, you're on the mat, like you're training. And so they were both like, oh, okay, well, I'll do it if you will. And so that was it. And so we trained together, and me and my mum, we both did our 4th degree black belts together. And it's been this like amazing thing to have, this bond to have. And I think that regardless of it being a bond between like mother and son or parents and kids, it's just such a great thing for kids to do from an early age, because it teaches you so much outside of just punching and kicking. It teaches you confidence, it teaches you self-discipline, it teaches you how to be motivated, and learning a new skill, and coordination and timing, and all of these things that are just absolutely applicable to other parts of your life outside of, like I said, either self-defense or just straight up fighting. The combat side of it, honestly, I would say is probably 2nd or 3rd on the list of things that it teaches you. So yeah, if you can get him into it, I started doing karate. I do karate called Tang Sudo, which is a Korean style, or Okinawan style. But if I had my time again, I think I would do jiu-jitsu. I think I would love to get into jiu-jitsu young, and I think especially for kids and for women and for girls especially, it's so invaluable. Like my first jiu-jitsu class I went to was a Fabricio Verdum's gym in Venice. And I went in there, and the first class we were just taught like the very, very basic stuff. And we were rolling, which is like sparring for jiu-jitsu. And I got put with this, she was probably 14, 15-year-old girl, maybe, I don't know, like 90 pounds. Like she was nothing. She was a tiny little dot. And there's me, I was probably like 210, 215 at the time, 4th degree black belt. I was like, okay, this is going to suck. So I'm going to have to go easy on her, and I would love to do this with a big gnarly dude that's going to try and choke my head off. So we start rolling, and I'm like, all right, taking it easy. And then boom, before I know it, she's got my back and she's choking me out. And I've legitimately had to tap out. And I was like, what in the F was that? Like, what just happened there? So we go again, and I'm like, all right, fuck this, I'll go a bit harder then if you're going to do that to me. So I go a bit harder. Boom, she's got me with an arm bar. And I was like, how is this? You're 14 years old. How do you keep doing this to me? And by the end of the session, she had legitimately tapped me out 4 or 5 times, and I hadn't been able to do anything to like impose my will on her. And I walked away from that class and I was like, yep, A, it's something that I want to learn, and B, if I ever had kids or I can recommend it to people that do have kids, I would get them to start. Because oh my god, if you have a bit of basic stand-up fighting skill, so that if it does get to just trade and blows standing up, you can handle yourself, then that's good. But once you can get someone on the ground, you can just steal their soul.
Yeah, no, that's a great suggestion. I'm down to put them in all that. I was going to put them in like swimming lessons.
I mean, swimming's important too.
Right. Well, it's like the number one way that most children die.
Swimming lessons?
Drowning.
Oh, got you. Right, yeah.
So, and I live by the beach, so we're around water. But again, COVID happened, so I can't get them into classes right now, but it's pretty intense. Like, and at the end of the class, even like, 9 months, 12 months, they put them in a snowsuit at the end, and they jump in the water, and they teach them to swim with their wet snowsuit and flip over and get their mouth to the water so they don't drown.
That's so crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. So I'm down for all that. Yeah. Like we never did any, as athletes, we played all kinds of sports and everything, but we never did anything like martial arts or dancing or any of that. And I feel like he's just going like destroying people.
I'm watching and I'm like, she's gonna have no blinds left by the end of this episode. If you guys are listening, Marco is just tearing these blinds to shreds.
The good thing is it's the part that like hangs below the window, so you'll never notice. But you should see what Moxie's done to the front blind to run patrol on the house. He's actually chewed himself a window, and like there's like one whole side of the blind is just gone, and that's where Moxie sits and runs patrol. So, and I hate these blinds. I don't really care. They work here. We moved in, so I don't plan on having them forever, which is why I could care less. But yeah, so I think all those things like martial arts, dancing are, no matter which, way they decide to go or not go with sports or athletics or any of that, I think is super valuable for, movement, footwork, all that. Yeah.
Oh, 100%. No, I look forward to seeing that because when you see kids that, like, even the little kids doing jiu-jitsu, it's so badass to see them, like, working, like, arm bars and getting rear naked chokes and stuff. And they're little tiny things. And it's like, what? How? You are more technically proficient than I am.
Right.
Yeah, it's cool. But no, I definitely recommend that to everybody listening. If you've never tried martial arts, go and book a class. Do whatever. Do boxing, do karate, do whatever you want. It really doesn't matter what type you do. Just go and do it and commit to it for 3 months. And once you've done, I promise you, I just had this exact conversation on the last podcast I did for someone else. Like you will get to the end of the 3 months and you will be like, wow, my life has changed. My life has genuinely changed from doing all of this. So that's cool. And if you need any advice or anything, if you do decide to get a bag, then I know obviously we're different coasts, but let me know. I can give you some drills or whatever to do in your gym downstairs, because it's doing shadow boxing even without a bag. Like if you've shadow boxed for 3 minutes, 4 minutes at a time, you feel that the next day too.
Yeah, and I still have my gloves, my boxing gloves, like even just holding those up. Like I remember we used to, jump, like just run around the gym, and we'd have to just like keep our gloves up for like minutes at a time. And
Well, we got 8-ounce or 12-ounce gloves.
I don't remember now. I would assume 8-ounce. I don't know. I literally have no idea. They're green. Does that help?
Oh, green ones. Yeah, got it. Yeah, perfect. They're really hard to keep up. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a great workout, and you feel muscles that you didn't even know that you had as well.
Yes, yeah, like the next day, and it's not like, maybe you can obviously at a certain point, but like it wasn't something you could I could do every day at that point. Like it's like I did it once a week, and that was like crazy. Like
Oh yeah, the recovery from a decent sparring session. It's all, for me, it was always like these little muscles like in my back, like not big ones. It wasn't like, oh, my shoulders hurt or oh, my biceps hurt. It was these like little ones where I'm like, is that a muscle? Like, what is that? I didn't even know that was there.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, no, it's great fun. And so you've been working out all of your life then, and obviously with doing your sports and stuff, and you've got a pretty neat setup in the basement, right? You've got like a full-blown gym down there.
Oh yeah. I have been working out my whole life, usually like sport specific training. So again, I played soccer, basketball, softball, and softball in college. So it always was to train to like hit a ball or kick a ball or throw a ball. And then I got into the fitness competitions, it became to train to look a certain way, which was very different. And then now I just train however I want, and usually it's more like athletic based. I do a lot of HIIT, like agility ladder, box jumps, sled pulls. I like training like an athlete, training, like I did for the bodybuilding shows for so long, gets like real old. I like to learn things and use my mind also when I like work out. So that's why I think like I was planning on getting back into boxing, because it was something to learn. For sure. But so my gym downstairs is legit. I've got like turf. I had mirrors installed. Rack. A bar, like every bar you can imagine. Weights, benches. I have the power blocks, so they go up to like I think like 150 pounds, the dumbbells.
Oh yeah, they're those square ones, aren't they? I was asking you about those. I've seen people use them before, but what's the deal then? You can just like unclip weights, but they keep the same form. Like, how does it work?
Yes, so they sit inside each other, right? So like it's got a handle you pull off, and then you insert into the like whichever weight you want. Mm-hmm. And each plate obviously increases in weight. So if you don't want it, you just pull it off. So it's really easy, but I didn't think I'd like them. I love them. They're awesome. And so great for a home gym where you don't want to take up space.
Right, yeah, because you don't need a huge rack of like 20 different dumbbells, right? You just have 2.
Yeah, and they're still, pricey in the sense like it depends which weight you get it to go up to, maybe like $1,000, $1,500, something like that. But if you were to compare that to buying each set of dumbbells, you get into thousands of dollars.
That's crazy.
So yeah. But yeah, then I also have a Jacob's ladder. I don't know if you're familiar with a Jacob's ladder.
Is that the thing that keeps like moving so you keep climbing it?
Yep. Yeah, that thing's a beast. It's like probably the best cardio because it uses literally your entire body.
Right.
And I have a water rower, treadmill, like the whole, like it's like a legitimate gym. I call it Callie as a joke, but it's kind of stuck. So everyone will be like, hey, can I come to Club Callie?
Yeah, I mean, it looks legit when I see you posting videos like the battle ropes, Moxie going for the battle ropes. That's funny.
Yeah, I call those the Moxie ropes because he absolutely loves them. Like if he could be asleep, he loves to be upside down. He could be asleep anywhere in the house, right? Yeah.
So for you guys that are just listening to this, so Callie now has Marco upside down. She's now shoulder pressing him.
He likes it. Yeah. So, anywhere in the house, Moxie will come running for the battle ropes. And then he tries to attack them, right? Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, look, Callie, it looks like Marco is ready to have your attention back. But thank you so much for chatting with me. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I'm glad that we've finally managed to connect and have a good old chat rather than just exchanging messages on Instagram.
Yeah, exactly. And for anyone that actually does listen to this and make it all the way through, I apologize if there was a little bit of lack of direction and, if we were long-winded anywhere at some point. Again, there's a lot going on right now. I don't know if you can see this. I'm like hot. I'm sweating because I'm basically, like working out with Marco at this point. Also trying to listen, also trying to talk. Also, Moxie's looking at me because it's time for him to EAT. I can't say the word because I'm getting excited.
Okay.
So it can get a little all over the place. But if you made it through, I appreciate it. And if you have any questions, let us know. Right, buddy?
Absolutely. Well, look, you're an absolute superwoman and you've done great. And I don't think you were long-winded or I don't think this lacked direction. That's the whole point. It's just a chat. That's what a podcast's all about. But tell everybody where they can find you. Obviously, I'll link all of this in the description, so there are going to be links. But just for the people listening, tell people where they can find you.
Yes. So you can find me on the gram at Callie Bundy. You can find me on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube at Callie Bundy. On TikTok, I just started an account.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, because it seems like it's not going to go away. So create an account there. I have a website, calliebundy.com. If you want to check out my app, it's on there too. So yeah, basically at Callie Bundy anywhere.
Perfect. Well, there you go. All right. Well, thank you so much. This has been a real treat, and I'm glad that I got to meet Marco as well, and maybe one day I'll get to meet Moxie too.
Yeah. Yeah, he's so bored right now. He's like this. Moxie, come here. Come say hi. Come here, baby. Come on, up. Oh,
here he is.
Marco loves Moxie, and he's like always chasing him around in his little walker thing now because he's figured out how to move it. And Moxie is not about that life.
He likes to be able to get away.
Yeah. He's like, no, I just want my mommy. You're taking up all of her attention, and I want my treats and my walks. Right?
Oh, bless him. He's so sweet. Yeah, Diesel is... he's laying down here right now, but I think it's time to go to the beach. Let's see. Want to go to the beach? Want to go to the beach? Yep, he's like, yeah, I want to go to the beach. Want to go to the beach? I don't know. Hold on, let me see if I can get him on camera. Come here. He's like, he's still... Oh, here he is. Yeah, you can see him.
Hi, boy.
He's still kind of nervous around... Well, not around... He's not nervous around me at all, but like he thinks about things. Like he thinks ahead of things. So if I call him over, he's like, but why though? What's in this for me? Why should I be coming over there right now? So yeah, every time I call him. What's that?
You can't blame him.
This is true. Yeah, he's bless him. He's had a bit of a tough start to life, but he is certainly #YOLOing right now.
Yeah, he is.
He's having a good time.
Sometimes, yeah, I think our dogs choose us. We think we choose them, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes they choose us.
This is true. All right, then. Well, thank you so much, guys. If you're watching or listening to this, well, you're going to be doing one of both. Thank you so much. I appreciate your support. Give this video a thumbs up if you're on YouTube. Subscribe. Do all of those nice things. Go and give Callie a follow. She is an absolute badass. And yeah, I'm really, really pleased that we got to chat. So until next time, guys, remember, be good human beings. Love each other. Help each other out. Get on the phone to someone you might not have talked to in a while and see how they're doing right now. And until next time, Don't know anything I wouldn't do. See ya. There we go. Job done.